I did.
Be seated, please.
All right, for our record, you're Detective Kerry Grimstead, correct?
That is correct.
And you've already given testimony before the jury in this case about crime scene processing, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and there were two issues, just to get to the point. You understand, this is just dealing with a very narrow issue regarding some recent scans that were done. So I'm gonna get right to the point. We were questioned some about the repositioning of a car seat inside the Hyundai Tucson in question in this particular case. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
And at some point, I believe it was on cross-examination, was it brought to your attention that there's a feature on the car seat that allows it to be somewhat inclined?
That is correct.
Did you realize that prior to giving your testimony? Had you noticed that feature prior to that?
No, I did not.
You were also asked a question about the measurements for the repositioning of the car seat in the vehicle for the scanning process. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes, I did.
And one of the lines of questioning was whether you actually measured height from floorboard to the area of the car seat that you initially were asked questions about. Do you recall that?
Yes, I did.
And just so we're perfectly clear, what's already been put into evidence, this is States 274. This is a photograph that we took during the initial processing of the vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
As opposed to what defendant introduced in Defendant's 15, this is where it's one of our photos, but they introduced it to show that inadvertently the
I'm
incline.
going to object to the continuous testimony.
That's fine.
Sorry, can't see me.
I know, and I couldn't hear what you said. Do you object to what?
I'm objecting to the testimony of Mr. Evans. I just asked a question to be asked and leave it at that. The commentary as to
Is
what
that called leading?
leading to. Thank you, Judge.
Well,
I would ask for a little latitude in motions here as opposed to the jury trial, but I'll try not to lead.
I'm gonna give some latitude because at your point now, it's directive. And when you get to substance, then I'll move more non-leading.
Yes, ma'am. Looking at 274 versus 15, and we'll just hold them up for the court. What's the minor difference between the two? And can you identify that for our record and for our court?
This gray portion down here is extended in the photograph on the left, and it is not on the photograph on the right.
Now, did you realize that this extension was apparently down during the initial scanning process back when we first scanned the vehicle?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And did you realize during your cross-examination that that's not how the positioning actually was at the time of the processing of the vehicle?
Yes, that is correct.
Based on that, you were tasked with doing something a couple weekends ago, October 15th and 16th, spur to the trial of the case. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And who asked you to go back and reassess that vehicle and make sure we got everything precise?
You did.
And based on that, can you explain for the court what you did on the weekend of the 15th and the 16th with Mr. David Dustin?
At approximately 9 o'clock in the morning on the 15th, I met with 88 Jesse Evans and David Dustin from Dustin Forensics. We replaced the car seat in the vehicle. After that was done and the measurements were checked, then I assisted David Dustin doing several scans around the outside of the vehicle, and then he used the scanner to scan the inside of the vehicle.
And in addition to that, you were asked a question during your initial direct and cross-examination, I believe on cross, about whether you had that additional measurement from the floorboard to the car seat for the first scan. I believe your testimony was you did not have that measurement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
For the second scan that I asked you to go back and do, just out of an abundance of caution, did you in addition make sure that you got all of the measurements accurately before conducting that scan with Mr. Dustin?
Yes, I did.
And the product of that, is that a new scan of the interior of the vehicle?
Yes, it is a total new scan.
Would it assist the jury if we were allowed to demonstrate spatial proximity and the location of items in the vehicle, if that were displayed for the jury, having had that vehicle scanned interior and exterior on October 15th and 16th?
Yes, I believe it would.
Other than that minor difference of a slight orientation of the seat, are you? I haven't asked a question yet.
No.
Finish the question.
Are you aware of any substantive differences other than that, the tilt of the car seat that we've just talked about?
No, I am not.
I think that's all I have today.
Cross-examine, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Grimstead again. You were asked as far as not having a measurement to use when you replace the car seat into the vehicle. And you indicated that there was some measurement you did not have.
I did not use that measurement, that is correct.
Okay. You did have the measurements, you just did not use them.
Yes, I had the measurements.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure we're clear for the record. Because that was a measurement that you took initially when you actually processed the car, which is fitted in photographs that we have provided to you, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And when you replaced the seat the first time, the extension, if you will, was down so that there was an angle, an incline that you verted, correct?
That is correct.
And you closed that extension up when you replaced it. Now, is it the second time you replaced it in the car when you did it on the 15th?
Yes, it was closed up when we did it on the 15th.
All right. Was that the second time that you put that car seat back in that car?
Yes, I believe it was. Without referring to my notes, my reports, which I do not have, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly.
Okay. You've done it more than twice at least, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Have you done it more than 3 times that you know of?
No, I do not believe so.
Okay. All right. And so as you put it in this time, the measurements that you used to put it in place this time are what?
They're the measurements that I initially took during the execution of the original search warrant on the vehicle.
Can you tell us exactly what measurements those are?
I may refer to my,
Absolutely, if that helps you.
use the front of child safety seat to the front dash, it's 2 foot 10.5 inches. Back seat floor to top of child safety seat, 2 foot 6.5 inches. Edge of child safety seat to rear driver's side door, 1 foot 11.75 inches. And edge of child safety seat to rear passenger side door, 1 foot 10.25 inches.
And those are the only measurements you used to replace this car seat on the second attempt, correct?
On this final, yes, that is correct.
All right. And you took some other measurements initially from the car before you removed the car seat originally, correct?
That is correct.
But you did not use any of those other measurements in placing the car seat here on the second time?
Because they were not to the car seat.
Okay. As to the documenting of that being done the second time, how did you document that?
We were all there, we were all present, and then we took some photographs from the scans, and I believe ADA Evans has some photographs as well from his cell phone.
And do you know how many photographs y'all took?
And no, I do not know exactly how many we took.
Would you have been the one taking the photographs?
No.
Okay. Who did?
ADA, Jesse Evans took some of them,
Okay.
and some of them were pulled from the scans themselves.
You say pull from the scans, meaning is this a electronically generated photograph, or is this photographs that were taken during the scan?
Judge, I'm going to object. This is outside the scope of the narrow issue that you've allowed them to delve into, which is the placement of the car seat and the rescan.
What do you say?
My attempt is try to find out how it's been documented so I can know whether or not what we've been provided tells us whether or not that car seat's been put in the right place or not. If we don't know how it's documented, I don't have anything to look at and verify it. Nothing's been provided to the court to that end, so I'm just trying to find out if that was done.
Well, I provided a report. I also allowed them to look at the photographs. They have the raw scans. They have all of that stuff, but that's not an issue that's inside the motion. The motion deals with whether or not they should be allowed to go before the jury, and these issues have nothing to do with that.
I sustain the objection. That's something that you can discuss with them, and it's also something that you can, well, I won't say if you can explore it on cross-examination. I'll have to wait till I get there. But I sustain the objection.
You're talking about in front of the jury. Very good, very good.
But I'm not saying representatively.
I understand. I just want the
Or
record to be
suggestively.
very good. I just want the record to be clear. What Mr. Evans just indicated as facts has not been put in evidence before this court in this motion. That's why I was trying to get at it. But we'll move on.
Well, you can lead, so you can ask him.
I'm sorry.
You can lead, so you can maybe ask that limited question.
Oh, okay, let me try again. Are there some photographs in existence that have not been introduced in this hearing that were taken that you were just talking to us about?
Yes, I believe they're all.
All right. Are there any other documentation other than your report and those photographs that you're aware of?
No, not that I'm aware of, and the scan data.
Very good, very good. All right. At the time the scan was done, were you present when the scan was done?
Yes, are you talking about the 15th?
Very, very good question. Yes, the scan that was done on the 15th. Were you there when that was done?
Yes, I was.
All right. And were you there to watch to see if the car seat was moved in any way or touched in any way in the process of doing that scan?
Yes, the car seat was not touched or moved in any way.
All right. So the camera or the scanner or whatever it is, nothing was put on the car seat to affect it in any way?
No, it was not.
All right. And did you then remove the car seat on the 15th again?
Yes, I did.
Did you put it back in again on the following day, the 16th?
I did.
And did you again on that day only use the measurements that you told us that you used on the 15th?
I used those 4 measurements, that is correct.
And was that, the placement of the car seat on that occasion, was that documented by photographic evidence?
The same as the first day, yes.
And I'll object to the relevance of that line of question. Documenting photographs is not relevant for our purposes here.
Same issue that you allowed me to ask that direct question before, Your Honor.
I think we've gone far enough along that line.
And as the scan was done on the 16th, is this a third scan that you're aware of?
This is the second scan that I've assisted with.
Okay. It just took place on 2 different days.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. And just so, I guess, maybe I want to make sure I'm clear. The only 2 scans you've been part of were on the 15th and the 16th. You were not part of any scan that was done before October the 15th?
Not of the vehicle.
Okay. All right, very good. And when the scan was done on the 16th, did you then remove the car seat yet again after that?
I did.
All right. And, all right. Give me just a moment.
I don't believe I have any retracts, Judge.
I don't think it's quite true.
I don't have anything further this time, thank you.
And you're through too?
Yes.
Is this the witness you're gonna call?
Yes.
Bring the jury in. You can stay where you are.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. I guess you need argument.
Well, I think we ought to look at the scan and allow for testimony from Mr. Dustin, who's here. This is who we intended to call.
No,
That has nothing to do with the substance of the motion. If the motion is dealing with the accuracy of the placement of the seat, you know, the scanning process is a static event. It just,
Back up, Joe. Close the door.
okay, the motion in limine. I'm ready to take argument on the motion in limine.
Can I make a proffer then?
Yeah.
Your Honor, what I would proffer, if permitted to call David Dustin of Dustin Forensics, I anticipate that his testimony would be that on October the 15th and 16th of 2016, he was asked to create a whole new scan, 3D scan, and create, along with that task, these new flyover videos that are new and very different from the ones that were created in March of 2016 and provided to the defense. Those flyover videos contain material differences that were elucidated in the testimony at trial thus far. Testimony was that Greg Sanders from Home Depot Surveillance testified that it appeared that Mr. Harris had one arm inside the vehicle and was positioned in a very, very different way from these new scans and new videos. The scans allow the user of the software to manipulate different points and perspectives of Mr. Harris and the vehicle. We have no way of knowing without putting up actual evidence of Mr. Dustin exactly what those measurements were and whether they accurately reflect Detective Grimstead's new placement of the car seat in the vehicle. Detective Grimstead can't testify if the scan is exactly as he measured it and left the car seat. He can't testify to that. And so what I would proffer is that this scan was based on the information that was provided to Mr. Dustin on the October 15th and 16th new scans when he created the new video as well. Completely new source of information than what was provided to Mr. Dustin in March of 2016. We just heard from Detective Grimstead that at the new scan was Mr. Dustin, Detective Grimstead, and Mr. Evans. Those individuals were not the sources of information for the first original scan. At the previous hearing, what we heard was that Mr. Dustin, the positions and the measurements were authenticated by Detective Stoddard. So now we have two completely different sources of information that are supplying the data to create these two different scans. That's my proffer. Would you like me to just go right into argument? I can be very brief.
Go ahead.
Judge, I will just quote Professor Paul Milledge from his courtroom handbook on Georgia evidence regarding computer animations. Your Honor found in its order earlier this year in regards to the first scan that this was an animation. Computer-generated animations are admissible to illustrate a witness's testimony if, in the discretion of the trial judge, they are fair and accurate representations of the matters sought to be depicted. Demonstrative evidence, however, is not substantive evidence and has no intrinsic testimonial value. Thus, for example, a jury could not find that venue was proper based only on an act that was offered only as demonstrative evidence. In other words, demonstrative evidence has no probative value in and of itself. It's not a substantive piece of evidence that goes back with the jury. It is only admissible as an aid to illustrate a witness's testimony. There has been no witness, and there will be no witness that will testify that Mr. Ross Harris was positioned in a vehicle, and the trouble is, Judge, I guess you're being asked to rule on a piece of evidence without having given the court an opportunity to actually view it. Mr. Dustin would allow that to happen, but Mr. Ross Harris is standing within the open driver's side door, and he's staring straight towards the vehicle with his arms down by his side. He has no bag in his hand, and that hasn't been what the testimony has shown. That hasn't been what the video evidence and the photographs have shown. So this demonstrative aid is not fair, it's not accurate, it's not representative of any testimony that we've heard, and it won't be representative of any testimony that we will hear. And for that, Judge, I would simply ask that you not allow this second 3D scan and video flyover to be permitted to be used or shown to the jury for any witness's testimony.
I'm not sure that requires any additional response, Judge. Their motion sought to attack the foundation for the scanning process in terms of the location of the car seat in the vehicle. It also attacks on discovery. We've handled the latter. I've now established, I believe, sufficiently that there's a foundation for the former. These other matters, quite frankly, might be interesting subject for cross-examination or further questions in front of the jury, but I don't think they have anything to do with a basis for a motion in limine involving the validity of the scanning process or what was done on October 15th and 16th.
All right, well, it seems to me that Detective Grimstead's testimony is what I gave the defense latitude to go into. Having heard it, I'm inclined to think that the state's position originally that it wasn't necessary may have been correct, but in abundance of caution and in interest of allowing the defense to develop their motion 29, I gave some latitude. As to Dennis Dustin's testimony, at this time, it's not necessary. I've already heard it from him. The thing that changed was the placement of the car seat and the position of the bottom, looked like a foot or something like that to me. And that's been presented and developed and cross-examined. A motion in limine is discretionary with the court. I've denied basically the same motion in limine before. I'm going to deny this motion in limine as well. I'm going to rely on the same reasoning that's set forth in the written order that I placed in the prior motion in limine. I believe that was 21.
It was.
All right.
Judge, do we have a written order, please?
Yeah, that's going to be next week. All right. What else do we need to do?
Hopefully the technology's working. I might need to test to that after we delve into this witness.
Now bring the jury.
Yes, ma'am. Let's all rise for the jury, please.
I'm going to ask the witness to be sworn in the presence of the jury.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind standing.
You solemnly swear to affirm the testimony to the court and jury on this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I did.
Please be seated. Yes, sir.
Our jurors are probably thinking that it's deja vu or that you have a twin, but you're Detective Kerry Grimstead, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, and I know you already gave testimony before this jury in advance of the weekend of October 15th and 16th, is that correct?
That is correct.
And just so we can refresh the jury's recollection, you're the crime scene investigator that actually processed the interior of the Hyundai Tucson?
That is correct.
And did you also collect something out of the back seat of that vehicle?
I did.
And what is it that you actually collected? The jury's seen it, so State's Exhibit 370.
It was a child safety seat.
At the time you collected that child safety seat, did you realize that there was a option that allowed for the change of the elevation of the car seat?
No, I did not.
When is the first time that you realized that the elevation of that car seat could be changed?
When I was testifying.
I want to ask you a little bit about the scan of the interior of the vehicle. We covered that briefly. You're familiar with the Pharaoh technology and 3D scanning, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you've already given some testimony that you've been trained by David Dustin to do that yourself at Cobb Police, correct?
That is correct.
So I want to talk to you about what happened after the 3D crime scene scanning and mapping in this particular case, were you tasked after you testified with doing something in terms of the Hyundai Tucson and the car seat that's already been tendered into evidence?
Yes, I was.
And explain to the jury, first, who asked you to do something with the car seat in the Tucson?
88 Jesse Evans did.
And what specifically were you asked to do with that car seat in the Tucson?
I'm back to place the child safety seat back in the vehicle using the measurements that I used on the initial search warrant of the vehicle, and then assist David Dustin with scanning the vehicle.
And when was that accomplished?
That was 15th, 16th, were the scanning, and then processing the scans on the 17th.
All right, so that happened over the weekend into that following Monday, is that correct?
That is correct.
And in what county did that occur?
We did that here in Glenn County.
But by that time, had that vehicle been transported to Glenn County for this trial?
Yes, it was.
And I want to start by just showing why you were asked to do that. I don't think it's lost on the jury, but let's make sure we make a good record. States 274, this is a state's exhibit. That's the seat as you saw it before you collected it from the back of the Tucson, correct?
That is correct.
And by comparison, I think it was on cross-examination, the defense introduced a photograph that we admittedly took. This is defense 15. Looking at 15, you see how there's a slight difference between 274 and 15?
Yes, I do.
Can you just point out for the jury what that slight difference is when you replace the car seat for the scan?
In this area down here, you can see this gray extension piece out in this photograph, and in this photograph, it is not out.
Did that make a minor difference in the placement of the
Very minor.
Okay. One of the other questions that you were asked is, did you take a measurement from the floorboard to the car seat? You were asked that on cross-examination. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
And for the placement of the seat in the vehicle, I believe you gave testimony that that was one measurement you didn't use. I'll rephrase it.
Yes.
Was that measurement used the first time you replaced the car seat in the back of the vehicle?
No, it was not.
As part of your directive to replace the car seat for the vehicle, were you asked to use all measurements?
Yes, I did.
And I'm just reminding you, states 292 and 293, that's the diagram you did with your full measurements of the interior of the vehicle, including the location of the car seat?
Yes, it is.
We have some photographs from the weekend. Do you need to see these now with their number? Please. While he's looking at those to capitalize on our time, who was present for the rescan of the vehicle on the weekend of the 15th and the 16th?
88 Jesse Evans was, myself, and David Dustin.
And that occurred at an enclosed shed here in Glenn County where that vehicle's being stored?
Yes, it did. When
When you were asked to go back and make sure that we got it like it was in 274 before it was removed from the seat, can you explain for the jury what exactly you did?
After placing the car seat back in, I began taking measurements. I also compared the initial search warrant photographs with the actual car seat to ensure that, yes, they were the same along with the measurements.
And did you also make sure that that little piece of plastic on the bottom that changes the elevation, did you make sure that that was in the original position before the car seat was removed from the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
As depicted in States Exhibit 274?
Yes.
Show you some photographs. States Exhibit 901. Thank you. 901 through 916, are those fair and accurate depictions of the process you've described of reinserting the car seat into the Hyundai Tucson for the purposes of rescanning the interior and exterior of the vehicle?
Yes, they are.
And then the final photograph, this is Stakes 916, is that's a 360 camera view that was obtained from the scanning of the vehicle using the Faro device.
That is correct.
Tender States 901 through and including 916.
One here on 916 particularly. 916, this is a photograph that you did not take, correct?
That is correct.
And this is taken by some sort of electronic device other than a camera?
It was taken from the Faro 3D scanner, which has a camera incorporated in it.
Okay. And what's depicted here is not what, if you were, I guess, this was taken from inside the car, is that correct?
That is correct.
If you were sitting inside the car, you would not be able to see this, correct?
No, it is a 360-degree panorama photograph.
So it does not fairly and accurately depict that car or the state that it's in at the time you were there, correct?
It does.
I object to the phrase in that question. It does fairly and accurately depict it, as he testified, merely a 360 panoramic view.
Yes, it does depict everything. It's just that it's rolled out so you can see all the photograph at once instead of having to flip through several photographs.
It gives a two-dimensional view of something that you could only really see in 3 dimensions. Is that correct?
Yes, that seems to be fair and accurate.
Okay. Your Honor, I would object to 916 coming in because it doesn't fairly and accurately depict what this car actually looks like by a real person. And as to the others, I don't have any objection except as to those. There are some items depicted in those photographs that we have previously addressed, and we continue to maintain those objections regarding that item.
The testimony is a fair and accurate view of the interior of the vehicle. It just happens to be a panoramic view of the interior of the vehicle, which I would hope the jury will be able to see in terms of the scan itself anyway. So I think there's been a foundation laid for it.
It has been.
All right. With that, because we have some computers that are hooked up to Armando pad, I'm not going to unplug them and replug them. Instead, I'm just going to get you to step down in front of the jury with me, and let's go through some of these photographs. Hold on, 916. This is State's Exhibit 901. Holding up 901. This picture confirms that this is the back of the vehicle where we rescanned in October. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the left rear corner of the vehicle.
And this is State's Exhibit 902. Hold up 902 and describe for the jury what that depicts.
This is the passenger side of the vehicle with the doors open.
And then this is State's Exhibit 903. Describe what 903 depicts, please.
This is a child safety seat. It's sitting on the floor right beside the vehicle prior to placing it in the vehicle.
Once that was placed in the vehicle without, I don't know what you call that, but the ramp, the little plastic part that sticks out, were some exterior photographs taken? This is State's Exhibit 904.
Yes, they were. This is the photograph through the rear passenger side vehicle with the door closed.
There's been some testimony regarding a life-size doll that was created, testimony from Martin Jackson and Dr. Frist, as well as some other witnesses. Was that doll actually placed inside this vehicle for the purposes of doing this scan?
Yes, it was.
And in some of these photographs, can you actually see that doll's head inside the car seat?
Yes, you can.
This is State's Exhibit 905. Hold up 905 and describe what that depicts, please.
It's a photograph through the front passenger window. You can see between the front passenger seat and the driver's seat, the child safety seat.
What number is that again, Mr. Grimstead? 906.
905, I believe.
Thank you.
And then let's look at State's 906. Hold that up and describe what that depicts, please.
This is taken from outside of the driver's door of the vehicle. You see the door is partially open. But if you look between the driver's seat and the front passenger seat, you can see the child safety seat.
This is State 907. Hold up 907. Describe what that depicts for the jury.
This is a photograph through the rear driver's side door, or through the window of the rear driver's side door, showing the child safety seat.
There are some photographs here where there's certain stickers or markers that have been placed in the photograph. Can you describe for the jury what those are used for in terms of Faro scanning?
Yes, these markers that have been placed on the interior of the vehicle are to help each scan register with the next scan. There are multiple scans since the device only sees line of sight. You have to scan multiple times, and this will link all of the scans together.
And then you recognize this individual depicted here in States 910.
Yes, this is Mr. David Dustin as he's using the freestyle scan, scanning the back seat of the vehicle.
Just as an example, State's Exhibit 912. Describe what that shows, please.
This is the measuring tape that I used, when placing the child safety seat back. It is also the same measuring tape that I used on the initial search warrant, execution of the search warrant, when I took my original measurements.
All right, sir. In addition to that, out of an abundance of caution, did we have something else there that was able to assist us in making sure we confirm the placement of the car seats?
Yes, we did. We were using the original, computer containing the original digital photographs that I had taken during the execution of the search warrant.
This is State's Exhibit 913, and looking at 913, is that a computer screen showing the original photographs as compared to the actual location of the seat?
Yes, it is. You can see the computer on the left side of the photograph. We use that to ensure that, yes, the photograph is the same.
And then was an interior scan taken from the front driver's seat of that vehicle? And did you assist with the placement of that Faro device?
Yes, I did.
This is State's Exhibit 914. Hold up 914 and describe what that depicts for the jury, please.
This is the actual Faro 3D scanner as it's sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle.
And then similarly, this is State's 915. Just describe what that shows for the jury, please.
This is, again, the Faro 3D scanner in the driver's seat of the vehicle. This is a little bit closer photograph than the last one.
After you've displayed that for the jury, why don't you take your seat if you don't mind?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you talked about processing the scan data, and 916, we haven't displayed that to the jury yet, but the 916 is that a panoramic view that was taken from that scanner inside the front driver's side of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, it is.
Did you assist David Dustin with processing that to confirm the authenticity and validity of the scan data? And I'm going to show you what's been marked as state 653, and there's a hard drive here. Look at this hard drive. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
These are hard drives that we purchased to place the new scan data on.
And did you initial this once you confirmed that it was on there?
I did.
And does this contain a fair and accurate scanning of, among other things, the exterior and interior of this Tucson after you processed it on October 15th and 16th of 2016?
Yes, it does.
There are also 2 thumb drives in here. One of which contains the photos that were depicted here. I think that you want to put a second number on it? That's fine. I'll put an exhibit number on that, but just put this thumb drive in here. Just confirm that this is a digital copy of the photographs that were shown to the jury, includes those digital photographs. Yeah, no.
Yes, it is.
That was a black and white version of the 360 scan, so it includes all of the plus the black and white version. Yeah, there's one other picture of David Dustin. Come through the back.
We don't have that here.
It's right here if you want it.
I just want to make sure I knew what it was.
That's what it is. You have a sticker? 917? Mr. Lumpkin, I'll let it run 917.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna separate that out, just defense request, looking at 917. That's the thumb drive we just looked at that contains these photographs. And to be clear, it was pointed out, there's 2 additional photographs that weren't shown to the jury that are also apparently included on this. Is that correct?
That is correct.
One being a black and white photo.
That is correct.
Mr. Lumpy, do you have any objection to me placing 917 in 653, or do you want me to tender that separately?
I'm sorry, 653?
Yeah.
Oh, in the bag?
Mhm.
As long as it's labeled, it doesn't matter where you put it.
Let me just do this. Tender 917.
No further objection to what we've already noted, Your Honor.
Brandon?
I'll leave that separate. All right. Having reviewed the interior of the vehicle and the scan data, would it help to demonstrate orientation and spatial proximity 3-dimensionally if the 3D scans were tendered and shown to this jury?
Yes, it would.
And would having those scans displayed help to demonstrate the location of the car seat, specifically of the vehicle, and its spatial proximity to other things around it?
Yes, it would.
Tender states 653.
What is that, Mr. Evans?
That's the hard drive. I've removed an additional thumb drive from there, so it's just the hard drive at this point.
I would object to that. There's no foundation that he created this, just because he was president at the time. This is a unique technology, and I think the person who actually created that could lay the foundation that would have to testify, so I object to that.
Well, I don't think that's required. The testimony is that it would help to demonstrate that, but for the record and for the benefit of the jury, that's the next witness, so I'm gonna lay that foundation regardless.
All right.
When he does that, we'll see if we have objection.
That's
How does
fine.
that affect things?
It really doesn't. I mean, I think the legal foundation's been laid for it, but I don't mind asking the questions. I plan on doing that anyway.
All right, let's do that. I'll reserve.
Okay. I want to talk about the vehicle itself. As we sit here right now, State's Exhibit 370, the car seat is no longer in the courtroom. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you know who took that, with the permission of the court, obviously, who took that item and where is it located right now?
Yes, I took that item in the vehicle.
And who requested that you go place that back in the vehicle?
88 Jesse Evans did.
Now, did you accomplish that this morning as part of my request?
Yes, I did.
When you put that car seat back in the vehicle, how did you do so? What did you use to make sure that you put it in accurately?
I used the same measurements that I had taken on the initial search warrant to include the measurement from the floorboard to the top of the child safety seat, and the same measuring device that I used all times.
And looking at States 274, is this where that car seat would be right now in the back of that Hyundai Tucson?
Yes, it is.
And were you also tasked with taking a piece of paper with an exhibit sticker to that Hyundai Tucson to leave that there to mark that vehicle as an exhibit itself?
Yes, I was.
Judge, at this time, and is that vehicle, other than having items collected out of it and returning the car seat to it, is it in the same condition now as when it was initially collected from June the 14th of 2014?
Yes, it is.
At this time, Judge, I would tender State 650, which is the Hyundai Tucson, for purposes of a jury view.
I can body here briefly, Your Honor.
You may.
You said the vehicle's in the same condition. Have you been the person in charge of keeping track of that vehicle over the last 2 years plus?
No, I am not.
Any idea how many people have been in and out of that vehicle in that time frame?
No, I do not.
Any idea what changes have been made in that vehicle in that time frame?
It doesn't appear that any were made.
Okay. And when you say it doesn't appear, is that upon your visual examination?
Yes, and coupled with the initial photographs that I took during the search warrant.
And what photographs did you rely upon in order to determine it's in that same condition?
Of course, the ones that were tendered from the last time I testified, the ones from the original search warrant.
And so whatever's in those photographs, that's what you're able to look at to see that appear to be cars in the same condition?
No, there have been things that have been taken out, such as the receipts that were initially photographed inside. And of course, the vehicle, the child safety seat was photographed initially, but it had been removed and replaced a time or two.
Okay. There's some other items that have been removed from the vehicle as well that have not been put back?
Nothing that, yes, there have been.
What are those? What are those items?
I do not know. I did not collect those items unless it was items that I collected during the search warrant.
Judge, I guess I'd object to his having been able to lay the proper foundation as to the vehicle being in the exact same condition as it was. Subject to that, to do with more.
Is it in substantially the same condition as when it was collected?
Yes, it is.
Is the battery dead?
The battery is dead.
Okay. And a lot of items have been moved or removed from the vehicle as part of the process of bringing this case to trial?
Yes, there have been.
Of course, there's been some age on the vehicle because it's been sitting for a few years, correct?
That is correct.
Judge, is that the same vehicle that was collected, though, despite these minor changes and things having been collected and moved from the interior?
Yes, it is.
I think the foundation's been laid, and I'll renew my tender.
I'm allowed over objection.
Anymore. I think that's all I have.
Cross-examine when you're ready.
Is your iPad or anything?
It's much the best. But I can keep it right here if you'd like.
Let's put it right here.
That's fine.
All right. Mr. Grimstead, I forget if there's a particular title I should use. Is it detective, is it captain, is it major, is it CST? I want to call you the right thing, if I could.
You can call me detective, counsel.
Very good. Detective Grimstead, you this process you've been through has kind of been a good learning process for you, is that fair to say?
Well, as far as learning, putting things into application that have been learned, yes, that is correct.
Very good. And as you testified, you just simply weren't aware that there was a change in that seat because of the extension that you weren't aware of until we saw it in court, correct?
That is correct.
And prior to our bringing that to your attention, however, you were more than happy to testify to these ladies and gentlemen that those photographs you took showed this car seat in exactly the same condition as when you initially processed it, correct?
That is correct.
And it turns out that testimony was not true because of a factor you just weren't aware of, correct?
That is correct.
And you were able to become aware of it when we looked at the photographs, actual photographs that you took on both the original processing and after you put the car seat in the first time, and it became very obvious there was a major difference, correct?
Yes, there was a difference.
All right. And you've said many times, you referred to it as a slight difference and a minor difference. What was the actual difference in the height of that car seat after you realized that that extension should be down?
Well, since I did not take an initial measurement, when I replaced the child safety seat back in from the floorboard to the top of it, I cannot tell, but looking from the photographs, there was a very minor difference.
Well, you're a person who deals with very precise measurements, is that correct?
I try to be as precise as I can. That is correct.
So when you say it appears to be very minor, there was actually a real measurement you could have taken of that extension out and with that extension up of how that changes the angle of the car seat, correct?
That is correct.
And in fact, I believe Mr. Evans asked you a few days ago about it. You said, well, it might just be about an inch. You recall that?
I said it would change it possibly, maybe an inch. That is correct.
Well, did you go back and measure to see what that difference was?
No, I did not.
Okay. You certainly had the ability to put the extension out, measure it, and then put the extension up and then measure it, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you just chose not to do that, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So these ladies and gentlemen don't know what the actual difference is between those two. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Now, these photographs are really important for you to go back and look at to try to make sure the car seat at least appeared visually to be in the proper location and the proper, I guess, in its proper placement with that extension, correct?
That is correct, coupled with the measurements.
All right. And the measurements also are very helpful. In fact, measurements are really, really important because that's the precise thing that you use to determine where something was after you've removed it, correct?
Yes, try to be as precise as we can.
All right. When you originally processed this car seat, you took a lot of photographs. In this particular measurement of the, I believe the floor to the top of the car seat, the measurement that you disregarded the first time you put it back in, you know what I'm talking about?
I object to the characterization of disregarding it.
Well, did you take regard of it when you put it back in the first time?
I did not use that measurement.
Okay. But it's fair to say you disregarded it, correct?
I didn't use it.
Okay, we'll go with that. You did not take a picture of that measurement being taken at the time you took that measurement, is that correct?
No, I did not. When I was processing the vehicle, I was by myself, so it was kind of difficult to try to have a measurement and take a photograph as well.
Right. There was nobody else working for the Cobb County Police Department on that day?
Yes, there were many people working for the Cobb County Police Department that day.
How many crime scene technicians does Cobb County Police have?
At the time, we had 4.
4, okay. Did you try to call any one of them to come hold the camera and take a picture when you did those measurements?
No, I did not.
All right. You did take some pictures, and I think we've seen them before. Page 279, 280, 281, 282, 83, and 84. Remind you, if you look at those, please, sir. Those are photographs you took using this measuring tape that you talked about, as well as a scale of some sort. some that someone else took, if you know?
No, these are photographs that I took. This depicts a scale. It does depict the measuring device, but that is mainly for this purpose, used as to show that that's a straight line distance.
All right, and let's talk about that. What number is that one, Mr. Grimstead, Detective Grimstead?
We have two here, 283 and 284.
All right, and, thank you. The one that shows the most drawn out, or most information, would that be 284 over 283, since it's a little bit further back?
284.
Very good. All right. And this is the picture of the measuring tape. I think you testified earlier about you measured from the front dash to some point on the car seat. You couldn't remember, as I recall, where you placed the actual measure. Do you recall that?
That is correct, but that was not for the measurement. That was just showing that it was a straight line distance.
Exactly. And it kind of gave us an indication of wherever you put that, the box where the measuring tape goes into, which I think you testified was, you believe was on the handle of the car seat?
It was, I can't remember exactly where it was.
Okay, you didn't document that, correct?
No, I did not.
Now, when you went out and put this car seat back in on the 15th, was that the second time that you had put the car seat back in this car?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Did you take a picture similar to this one so we could compare that?
No, I did not.
But you did take a picture of something with a measuring tape, I believe you were talking about earlier. Do you have those photographs that Mr. Evans gave to you? Oh, they're all right here. I'm gonna snake it a bit, as they say. Here we go. States 912. See that photograph? That photograph depicts that measuring tape, again, from the dash to some point on this car seat, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And it's not taken from the same angle as 284, is that correct?
No, that is correct.
So we can't really see the angular difference between those two and look at these two photographs. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
But you were there, and you know that certainly the angle on 912 was much more inclined than it was in 284, correct?
The second photograph, if I may
Yes.
see the number of
Absolutely.
it. Photograph 912 is actually showing when we were taking the actual measurement itself. So the box, as Mr. Lumpkin has stated, is not sitting by itself. Somebody's holding that so we can actually get the accurate measurement.
Very good. And what did you measure to on that car seat to get that measurement?
From the front dash to the frontmost portion of the child safety seat.
When you say the frontmost portion, what part of the child safety seat was that?
The closest portion to the dash.
So that, was it the handle or was it the car seat?
It was part of the car seat.
Okay. So the handle actually comes up in front of the car seat, correct? When you fold it down, it comes in front of the frontmost part of the car seat? You call that?
Yes, but there is a hood as well.
Okay. And so my question is, what did you do with that handle in order to measure to the car seat? You just push
The
it
handle
down?
was stayed in the same position that it was.
As it was when?
Down, it would be down in the front.
Who put it down?
That's how it initially was when I did the search warrant. I have not moved the handle back and forth.
Well, you took some photographs, didn't you, after you processed it the second time with an evidence tag on that handle? Isn't it 16? Sure.
I have to object to that. I think that mischaracterizes the testimony. You said he didn't take those photographs. That was somebody else that initially put it back in.
Okay. Well, let me show you fence 16.
Okay.
All right. Do you recall seeing that car sheet in that condition?
Yes, the car seat was in that condition at one point because I had to move the handle to affix the evidence tag to it.
So you did move the handle?
Well, yes, I did
Okay.
when I was doing that.
All right. And the evidence tag that was put on there, now it has been removed from the car sheet as it's been put into evidence when you saw it the other day, correct?
Yes, I did not see a evidence tag on it.
When you got the car sheet on the 15th, do you remember if the handle was up or down?
No, I do not.
But in any event, going back to the original question with this measuring tape, did you ask somebody, when you look back at your digital photographs in your computer, to say, hey, why don't we get a similar picture to the one we've already put in evidence so we can see the difference in the angle of this car seat?
No, I did not.
After you did get the car seat back in the second time, you then had some photographs taken of that car seat, is that correct?
No, we talked, because I apologize to the court, I'm getting confused.
Okay.
The 15th?
Yes, on the
Or the
15th.
16th?
I think the 15th was the second time you put it back, is that right?
Okay, yes,
On the 16th, you had taken it out and you put it back in the third time, is that right?
that is correct.
Okay. And when these photographs that you've testified to, were those taken on the 15th or on the 16th?
We had taken some on both days.
All right. Can you delineate on those photographs which ones were taken on the 15th and which were taken on the 16th?
No, I cannot.
All right. But when you put it back in on both times, I think you indicated that you used some measurements that you had taken originally when you processed this Hyundai Tucson in the car seat the first time back in July. Was it July of 2014? Does that sound right? June or July, one of those two.
When I initially did the initial search warrant on the vehicle, that is correct.
And I believe you've testified to the measurements you took, and that was the front of the child safety seat to the front dash that you were just talking about, correct?
That is correct.
The child safety seat to the top head area, correct?
No. Are you talking about on the 15th?
How about on June the 18th, 2014, when the car came to you in the original condition it was in on June the 18th?
Okay. May I refer to my report?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. You used you had a measurement in front of child safety seat to the front dash. Then you had the child safety seat to top head area.
That is correct.
You had the back seat floor to top of child safety seat, correct?
That is correct.
And that's the measurement that we've talked about that you did not use when you put it back in, which created the issue that you're now here for, correct?
That is correct.
Then the edge of the child safety seat to the rear driver's door, to that measurement?
Yes, that is correct.
And the edge of the child safety seat to the rear passenger side door, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So you took 5 measurements of where the car seat was located in the car?
No, the second one, the second measurement that was read off is actually the car seat itself, not any measurement to place it inside of the vehicle.
I got you. Is that what we saw on the picture with the black and white? I think I called it a ruler, I don't.
Well, that was a scale, that was not, but that is the area that I was measuring.
Very good, very good. All right. Now, when you took the car seat back on the 15th and put it back in there, you had some photographs taken, and we've had those have been provided to us, correct?
That is correct.
And you were present as those photographs were being taken, correct?
That is correct.
And so you were able to see exactly what was being taken and could have asked, hey, let's get a picture from this angle, or a picture of this, or a picture of that, correct?
We did talk about some of the photographs, that is correct.
All right. You have the photographs there in front of you, I think. Can you show me a photograph that y'all took on the 15th. 4 to 9, 16, I think it was. Probably.
Yeah.
Present 4. I think this goes with that too. Should be 16 of those in there. My simple question to you is, can you show us a photograph that was taken after you put this car seat back in on the 15th or the 16th, whenever these were taken, that actually captures that corner area of the car seat that's at issue where that extension is? Appendix 15 shows it very clearly.
There's not one that shows that exact angle.
Looking at the photographs is what helps you understand what you'd missed the first time we were in trial the other day, correct?
That and using the measurements that were pointed out, that is correct.
Very good. But they're just, you did not compare any photograph to a photograph that you made of that part of the car seat because you just didn't take a picture of it. That's
Yes,
right.
we did. We just did not photograph it with the
The corner of it.
the computer right there. That is correct.
And likewise, you didn't take a picture of the measuring of the car seat to the front dash originally when you made the first measurement, correct?
That is correct.
And the picture that you now have that you provided to us, if you'll find that. With the measuring tape showing the measuring tape showing the top of the car seat. We did take a picture of that, correct?
Oh, what?
The measuring tape where you made them, here we go. States 913, where you actually have the measuring tape. The only picture you have of the measuring tape, except for the one that shows the angle, but it's not an actual measurement.
That is correct.
And that is supposed to depict for us the measuring of what?
No, this is actually a photograph to show the original photograph and the gap between the seat as compared to the real-world photograph we're still taking. So it shows the computer with the old previous photograph, and it's very similar in angle to show the same gap, if you will.
So you're telling us that that picture doesn't even show us you measuring that important measurement from the floor to the top of the car seat?
And you can also see that.
Okay.
But we were originally photographing to show the car seat and the distance between the driver's seat in the photographs and the photograph we were just taking.
Okay. And that's the only picture you took of making that measurement, is that one right there, correct?
That's all I recall. And I did not take this photograph.
All right. But you were present there and you recognized what's depicted there, correct?
Yes, that was actually me holding the measuring device.
As far as this area between the front seats and the back seat, there's a floorboard area in this car, just like all cars, correct?
That is correct.
And with the doors open, you could have taken a picture showing through that floorboard area, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then we would be able to see if the measuring tape's actually on the floor and measuring that properly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Which I did take a picture of that.
No, we did not.
The measurement of that back seat floor to the top of the child seat, what was that measurement?
May I refer to my
Sure, absolutely.
back seat floor to top of child safety seat, 2 feet, 6.5 inches.
All right. And the point in which you measured is what this picture is showing us, is that right?
You can see me actually with the tape, but like I said, that was not the intention of it. And I don't know if the exact measurement is on there or not.
Well, look at it and see if you can tell. Maybe that your finger's in the way.
That appears to be correct.
Okay. And so the part of the car seat that you measured being the top, at least on the 15th, is the, I guess it'd be the, if you were looking at the car seat, it would be the right side head portion?
It's the highest portion.
Okay. Is that what you're indicating, telling us that's what that picture shows us, is you measuring that highest portion?
Yes.
And that should be 2 feet, 6.5 inches, what we're seeing.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, the last time you were here, you talked about having put the car seat back in its place as you did it. And after that point in time, you had not seen the car seat again until you came to court. Is that right?
No, I did not have any dealings with the car seat.
Right. When had you seen the car seat? Were you asked to take the car seat back out of the car after a scan was done back 2 years ago?
No, I was not.
Okay, all right. But you don't know what happened to that car seat after you put it into the car back on July the 2nd, I believe it was. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so, were you even aware that a scan was done of this vehicle back in 2014?
I had heard that there were scans taken, but I was not present.
All right. So you don't, when that scan was done, you don't have any idea of where the car seat was at that point in time? Fair to say?
No, I do not know.
No one asked you to come measure it, double check it, make sure it was in the right place before the scan was done? All right.
No, I was not asked.
And as far as the reliability of that scan, you just simply can't testify to that one way or the other because you weren't present when that was done.
You're talking about the one in July?
2014.
Yes, that is correct. I was not present.
All right. And, but was it last weekend? Our days are kind of running together. Was it last weekend you did this or the weekend before that you put the car seat back in for at least the second time?
It would have been the weekend before.
Okay. And that was after you testified here, is that right?
That is correct.
All right. And you put it back in and then a scan was done at that point in time, is that correct?
Yes, there were several scans.
Okay. When you say several scans, what do you mean by that?
The Faro 3D scanner can only capture a line of sight. So obviously if there's something, in order to get a 360-degree scan of something, you have to take scans from different points to capture all those different areas around the surface.
Okay. All right. And, but do you even know enough about the technology to say when a scan is put together, was that all done on the 15th for a particular scan to be put together? Or did that require the 16th to combine all those pictures?
No, we scanned on both the 15th and 16th.
Okay.
When a scan is taken,
Yes, sir.
it takes a series of photographs along with it.
Okay. And do you know if on the 15th, well, on the 16th, were there different photographs taken that were taken on the 15th, or was it just simply redone again?
There were other photographs.
All right. And do you know why it wasn't all done on the 15th when you put the car seat in the second time?
Yes, because some of the internal scans were not registering properly according to Mr. Dustin, because I did not process the scans.
Okay. And so you had to go out and put the car seat in a third time, correct?
And that is correct.
And we don't have a separate set of photographs for that time that you put it in, correct?
And that is correct.
And as far as any measurements and that sort of thing, you're telling us that you used the same measurements that you used the second time, correct?
That is correct.
And but even of those, our photographs are somewhat limited as to what it shows as far as the car seat. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
After the scan was done on the 16th, were you asked to remove the car seat yet again?
Yes, I was.
And now you've been asked to put the car seat back in the car at least a fourth time. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Did you put the car seat in all by yourself?
No, we had assistance. ADA Jesse Evans helped me put it in, fastening one side. But then when it came to that, when we tightened everything up, it was measurements that we used.
Okay. That's what I want to ask you about tightening everything up. Explain to these ladies and gentlemen, how do you tighten everything up on this car seat?
There are connectors. I have since learned a lot about car seats in this case that I knew previously. There are connectors where it connects to the actual vehicle seat. You can adjust the tension on those, and that will either seat it closer down or higher up.
And those connectors are something that we can't see in any of these photographs because you didn't capture that part of the car seat, correct?
That is correct.
And it's also fair to say you didn't have photographs to compare the original time when you saw it to how those connectors look when you put it in on the 16th.
Yes, we did. We used the photographs that I had initially taken during the search warrant.
Right. And we don't have any evidence, other than you're saying you did that, we don't have any photographs showing that you did that, correct?
That is correct.
Right. And did you, when you removed the car seat on either the 15th or the 16th, did you take note of the condition of the actual Hyundai Tucson car seat after you removed it?
I don't understand the question.
When you took the car seat out on the 15th or 16th, did you look back at the Hyundai Tucson, the back seat, to see what it looked like?
Yes, I did look at it.
Did you notice anything?
There are not, what do you call them, grooves, where the car seat was sitting because it wasn't sitting that long.
No indentions in the seat like you had seen back in June of 2014, correct?
There were none that I noted.
And that's what Defense Exhibits 9 and 10, and we talked about the other day, that you noted those because they were important enough you took pictures of them back in June of 2014, correct?
Yes, that was during the initial search warrant of the vehicle. That is correct.
This is after you removed the car seat for the very first time, correct?
That is correct.
And you're saying you did not see these in the seat when you took them out a couple weeks ago?
I did not make note of it. No, I did not.
All right. As far as the Faro scan itself, or scans, you're not the person who actually performed those or created those, is that right?
No, I did not actually press the button to tell it to scan. That is correct.
All right. And as far as the, well, do you know if the scan that's been put together, I think you said you reviewed the scan that's put together after that weekend, is that right?
That is correct.
And does that include pictures both from the 15th and the 16th?
Yes, I believe it does. There are some of the external scans, yes.
Okay. And so differences in the seat placement might be seen in different parts of the scan. If in fact, let me rephrase that. The scan itself is simply a pile of pictures taken by a camera, a special camera that takes them all at once, so you can then put them together in some tool that you can manipulate. Is that fair to say?
No, the Faro actually uses a laser and creates a point cloud. Every time the laser strikes a surface and returns back to the Faro, it records the time distance and creates a point in space, being able to render a three-dimensional image.
A picture, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
For
It's a
the
picture
laser.
that you might see on a digital screen, like this flat screen, correct?
That is correct.
It's not a hologram or something that comes out in 3 dimensions, it's a digital photograph, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it shows, much like cameras have come a long way, even in your experience in their technology, is that fair to say?
That is correct.
And you took a lot of photographs when you first processed this car. In fact, it turned out to be very, very useful to us because it captured how the car seat actually was on June 18, 2014, correct?
That is correct.
And because of that, it helped us find out that we just had some human error when we put it back in, correct?
That is correct.
And those photographs were taken all around the vehicle, inside and outside the vehicle, depicting everything you could find inside that vehicle. Fair to say?
That is correct.
The, one thing I want to ask you, when you processed the Hyundai Tucson in 2018, one of these photographs, do you remember a pair of sunglasses being inside the car?
When are you asking about?
June of 2014, when you first processed this Hyundai Tucson.
I do not recall if there was or not, but there was probably photographs of it, if there were.
Very good. Because you took a bunch of photographs on that day, correct?
That is correct.
See if I can find it.
Do you want the sunglasses?
I want the picture that shows it. I'll find it later. In any event, as far as the, any sunglasses that were in that car, you just don't remember if they were there or not. But if it was in a picture, it would show us it was there, correct?
I'm sure there are photographs of it. That is correct.
Would that, you recall seizing that item as evidence at some point in time?
I do not recall if I seized it as evidence or not.
Do you remember anything that you did seize as evidence from the car? Other than you mentioned the receipts that we talked about when you were here, that you thankfully took those.
Yes.
Anything else that you took out of the car?
If I may refer to my report, I'll be able to tell you exactly what. There's the child safety seat with base, Target's laptop bag containing an iPhone with case, various electronic cables and electronic storage devices, an Apple MacBook Pro, Lenovo T530 ThinkPad and miscellaneous papers, Apple iPad in case from amplifier component bag, Home Depot receipt from plastic bag on front passenger seat, and Chick-fil-A receipts from center console.
So no pair of sunglasses that you took?
No, I did not.
Do you remember if you saw them on the 15th or the 16th of this month?
I do not recall if I did or not.
You didn't seize any items from the vehicle on the 15th or 16th, correct?
No, we did not collect any evidence from the vehicle.
All right, so do you have any idea if they're in the vehicle today or not?
If,
Mr.
what,
London, they're upstairs.
Do you know if the sunglasses are in the vehicle today or not?
I do not, I was not looking for sunglasses.
Would you be aware of anybody who has taken anything out of that vehicle other than you removing the car seat and the amplifier equipment that's in the back?
There was other items removed from the vehicle.
Do you know who did that?
No, I did not remove any other items.
And so when the scan was done on the 15th and 16th, it was with some of the items that originally were in the car, they had been removed from the car.
That is correct.
It's fair to say then that the scan does not accurately portray the interior of that vehicle as it was on June 18th, 2014.
Yes, it does actually portray the interior of the vehicle as well as the where the car seat was placed at.
Just not the contents that people may have removed. Is that fair to say?
That is correct. There are some items that were not there when we rescanned the vehicle.
In just a moment. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Redirect.
The photograph of, I don't need to get it out, but the photograph with showing the laptop, is that just an example of one of the photographs you used when you were replacing the car seat?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did you use all of the other initial crime scene photographs to help assist you with replacing the car seat in a precise way?
Yes, we use multiple photographs.
That was just an example photograph we took to show the jury. the
Objection,
property.
leading.
This is good.
What does that show, that photograph?
That shows the,
What are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Nine thirteen. What does that exemplify for the jury?
it shows the gap between the driver's seat and the handle of the child safety seat.
The crime scene photo that's depicted on the laptop that's being held there, is that the exclusive photo that was used in this process when you remeasured and replaced the car seat?
No, it was not.
You were asked some questions about a measurement that you didn't take between the mistakenly placed car seat versus the accurately replaced car seat. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is there any need to know what the difference is if in one set of photographs it was mistakenly placed in the wrong position?
Well, I'm gonna object to that question. That's a need to know. It all depends on who's wanting to know. That's an improper question.
I don't think it's improper at all. There'd be no reason to take that measurement because there's no reason to know what that placement of the seat is if it happens to be improper. So I think it's a fair line of questioning.
I'm allowed over objection.
Would there be any need to take that if you could go back and retake that measurement? Would that assist in any way?
No, it would not.
Why?
Because when we rescan and the vehicle again on the 15th and 16th, we used the exact measurements that were taken during the original execution of the search warrant to make sure that the foot or slide thing of the child safety seat was in the original position it was originally in.
All right. And then today, when you went back to replace that car seat, did you use the same process that you've described for the jury from the 15th and 16th?
Yes, I did.
And as that car seat sits in the vehicle today, which has now been left in a secured lot, do those measurements line up with the measurements you took when you initially seized the car seat and processed the seat?
Yes, they do.
No, I think that's it.
You believe that the car seat's now in the closest as you can get it back to where it was on June 18th? Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
And that's the same thing you thought when you testified here and told these ladies and gentlemen that you had put it back in the same place. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And as far as any need to know, if you had taken a photograph to show that measurement, then we would all be able to see exactly what happened as opposed to you just telling us, correct?
That is correct.
From your earlier testimony, it was very clear, was it not, that having these photographs to go back and look at are really helpful to find out if we really did it right or if we just made a mistake. Correct?
That is correct.
And we don't have that regarding any of these measurements that you made on October 15th and 16th. Correct?
That is correct.
All right. Thank you.
Nothing further.
You can stay.
Thank you.
We need to approach Judge.
next witness, there's some technical things that need to be addressed, that will take 10, 15 minutes. There's no reason to put a witness on the witness stand for 10 minutes. Better to start in the morning. So I'm gonna recess for the day now. Motion up, be back here at 8:30. Y'all been prompt, let's keep up with the promptness, I greatly appreciate that. Drop your notepads off in your jury room, keep an open mind. No conversation about the case with anyone. Don't let anyone speak with you about the case. You know not to talk to each other about the case. No independent, anything to do with the case. Just go and enjoy your afternoon and evening, and I'll see you in the morning at 8:30.
Let's all rise for the jury. Watch your step going down. Be seated, please. Please be seated.
All right, we'll be in recess until, for us, 8 in the morning, outside. Everybody have a good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Judge.
You might as well, because,
They insisted on having a court order, Judge.
I know, but not, 8:30 is just for you all to look and see if you had a problem with how the vehicle is cited. Let's sit down.
Please be
Okay.
seated.
8 o'clock in the morning is not for the jury view. 8 o'clock in the morning is for the parties to be present to see if there's any problem at all with the citing of the vehicle. I think that if there is, we'll have to come into this courtroom to build the record of what the problem is if we can't agree on a correction. I don't see having her there. I'd rather have her in the courtroom tomorrow. We can come in here if there's a problem, put it on the record, and then we can all go back outside with her. Does anybody see it differently?
I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, I guess you really don't have a dog in the fight. All right, good. Kathleen, be in here in the morning. Okay. And then we'll move you downstairs. Okay. All right. Everybody have a good evening.